Esther. Hello there. I'm Jacob. I actually used to work in basic research myself. And in preparation for this today, I had a very interesting conversation with an engineer that was working at IBM, and she told me, well, I left basic research because I figured at the end of the day, it's going to be the human curiosity is always going to try to find a solution. But what we really struggle with is actually translating the knowledge that we've acquired in the endeavor of finding out about our world into actual products and into an application. And this is what we will be discussing today, Lab to Fab for Quantum, how to bridge the gap from research to the market. Exploring the challenges of, well, transferring quantum technologies. For this, we have a lovely panel. First, let me call Dr. Markus Becker. He's the CEO and Director of Operations at ARQUE Systems GmbH. Markus, come up here. At the Forschungszentrum Jülich. ARQUE Systems was founded in 2022, actually, by him and some colleagues of his in the field of quantum technologies, and they have the mission, actually, to develop and commercialize quantum computing systems. Wonderful to have you here. Next up, we have Magdalena Dellinger from Giesecke+Devrient. As part of G&D's technology office, she's co-leading a competence center in quantum technologies with a focus on post-quantum cryptography. Next up, we have Dr. Michael May. He is a co-founder and managing director of Menlo Systems. And for those of you who work in quantum computing, might have already had to do with Menlo Systems. Is actually a quite old company in this field, founded already in 2001. He there is the managing director of the company, which has grown from a small company to now have more than 215 employees in Germany, the United States, and other countries. And last but not least, Dr. Vladimir Voroshnin. He's the Innovation Manager of Technology Transfer Officer at the Helmholtz Center in Dresden-Rossendorf. Lovely to have you all here. The first question that I wanted to ask you all, and I would really like to hear from all of you on this, is the role and impact, what role do you have in your respective organization has on in the world of quantum technologies and its commercialization, and how do you see the impact? And of course also on the current state of how effective would you see the transfer that we see of quantum technologies in Germany at the moment. Markus, why don't you start?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, I think, as you see on the slide, I'm working on the one hand at the Forschungszentrum Jülich with 5,000 employees, and I am there the director of operations in the Institute of Quantum Information. And on the other hand, I'm the CEO of our spin-off, that's the ARQUE Systems company. And I think on the one hand, at the Research Center Jülich, we are very, very strong in fundamental research. We are partner in the Cluster of Excellence, maybe you know, ML4Q, together with our partner universities from Cologne, Bonn, and Aachen. And one of my colleagues is David DiVincenzo, maybe you know, from the DiVincenzo criteria in quantum systems. And we have this discussion with him. And you know, I make my PhD in mechanical engineering, and my dream was every time to bring something to market. And then David DiVincenzo asked me, Markus, we have a lot of patents here, we have a lot of ideas. You would like to join us and to bring this into application. And since 4 years, I am now working in this field, and since 2 years, I'm the CEO. And I really like to bring our patents, our idea. We are creating a quantum computer as a semiconductor based. I think we come later to this question, together with a strong industry partner. And I think we are in Germany one of the only companies who are bootstrapped. We have no investors. We are, from the first day, we are living from our own and from industrial projects. And I think that's so. I'm living in both worlds, and I think it's very important that you have both the fundamental research and then take this and bring it to application. And you ask about what I think about the systems. I will give them from points. I think 1 to 10. I think it's a good 6. But I think we have a lack because what Mr. Axmann said. I think I really enjoy the DLR initiative, but I think the look when you look at all the platforms, and if you know where we must go to real application for quantum computers, it's around millions of qubits. That's very important to look how we can scale. And if you check the other platforms, I have no clue how they can go there. And that was the reason that from the beginning that we are looking forward to go directly to industry. That's the reason that we are working together with Infineon, and I think we need there more support to look how we can close the gap to the scaling. I think that's missing in this part from my point of view. But I think what Mr. Ploss said, that's typical German. I say, it's not running. I think we are very, very strong. Everything is fine. But my hope is that they realize that we need a little bit more the point of view about scaling and to work in an industrial environment, because I think we are the only guys who are working really in Infineon. And I can say I have 3 sons. When I was, sorry, I'm talking too long, but when I was the first time in the industrial fab in Infineon in Dresden, it was like Christmas for me, and my kids feel at Christmas. If you see that's running there, the wafers there, and then I feel that I think we are on a good way, and Germany is also on a good way. We have strong companies, strong startups, but I think so a good 6, but now I'm close. Thank you.
All right. Magdalena, how do you see this field?
Yeah, so I'm a tech and innovation manager at Giesecke+Devrient. We are a security tech company, and we're securing a lot of products in our portfolio since more than 150 years. So we also want to provide secure products also ongoing in the quantum computing age. So we mainly look into post-quantum cryptography right at the moment. We participate in different public funded projects to learn about the technology, and also to broaden our network and to engage with the community, and also, of course, to then really implement successful products once the projects are implemented. And yeah, coming to the grading, like in general, I'm a positive person, so I would give it a 7. But yeah, we mainly look into PQC at the moment, so also this is my point of view at this. And yeah, I think there's room for improvement, but I think there are already a lot of positive things ongoing.
Very good, a 7. So let's see if the trend continues. Michael.
So, as being said at the beginning, Menlo Systems is a provider of solutions for precision measurements, and we are a spin-off of the Max Planck Institute of Quantum Optics. And as you already noted, it's many years back, so quantum does exist since more than 5 years, right? It's nothing new, just the applications have become more prominent and more relevant, I would say. So what is our role in technology transfer? So actually we developed the technology mainly during our PhDs, together with our co-founder Ted Hensch, who has won the Nobel Prize in Physics 2005 for exactly this technology. And we took the technology already 2001, together with Max Planck Innovation. We transferred it into the startup company. So we developed it, took it out, and actually, I think Germany is a good place to do this. So this worked already 2001. We were the first startup and spin-off of Max Planck of quantum optics, but quite some of them followed. So that part worked very well, and we made a company around it. So we are medium-sized, nothing too big, nothing too small. And by the way, we are bootstrapped as well.
Perfect.
Positive cash flow from the year number 1. So that works as well. It worked all over the years, and the quantum initiatives, they are great. They supported many of our customers in developing and bringing their applications forwards. So we ourselves, we don't build quantum computers, but we call the laser technology that we have, and this frequency comes as enabling technology to many applications. One of them is quantum technology. How do I rate it? I would say I give it a 5 to 7, something in between, so I'm not going over that for the moment. So I think in this, the starting phase is great, right? We have a lot of technology that is available. We have many institutions that help to transfer it. I think we are lacking. Why don't I give it a 10? I think we are lacking, and sometimes I think we're even afraid bringing it over the finish line. We are too conservative. Is it finance from too many sides? We care about too many things. We don't always want to win. We try to protect at the too early phase. I think that's the major difference between the US and Germany. So I spent many years abroad, 2 years in the US, 1 year in Switzerland, but I always come back. I think Germany is great, but I give it a 5 to 7. Room for improvement.
Vladimir.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm an innovation manager / technology transfer officer. I don't have to explain technology transfer in my job description, right? So what exactly that I'm doing, I'm scouting inside, I'm trying to find some cool projects. For instance, this is a great example what I would like to do with people who employed at HZDR, right? Someone does the PhD and then they transfer it to the spin-off and then it produces more working places and more technology in the German economy. So this is basically what I'm doing within, and outside I'm also going around. I'm trying to make a kind of a landscape understanding of what technologies are needed, because this is a decoupling between what researchers want to actually discover and what is actually needed. I mean, those worlds don't always communicate to each other, and we are kind of building the bridge, which exactly means that we need to know both sides. We need to encourage people to actually go by this path, which is not always the case. We need to help them with funding, with the business model, with the market research, and part of my job is also negotiation. So this is more or less where I place myself. What institution does is that developing basic technology. This is technology readiness level just before, like just after the demonstration. Once you're gonna publish it, done. So this is what research does. And our job as a technology transfer department to bring it a bit further to actually have a normal working thing, which is marketable, which can be adopted by the company or from which the company can be created. So yeah, this is our role.
Well, would you grade the current transfer of technology?
Yes, I was just going there. I would actually just go with the same rating. To be honest, I don't like 1 to 10 gradings. I think this is completely worthless. But so I would say we are above the middle. There is lots of actors involved, like funding, people who want to do it, like a culture, transparency, and adoption level of the industry. Actually, what I would like to have is the industry people back to academia, so with a bit different mindset. And all those actors are present, so we are not actually lacking anything, but all of them can be improved.
Michael, you said something very interesting, which is you were speaking about fear. Markus, when you hear Michael say that, you just founded a company. So what was different for you that you were able to actually do that?
Yeah, let's say fear is every day in our life it's in, but we would like to tackle it, and I think we have a good ecosystem here in Germany to tackle it. But I understand the feeling, but because if you see in quantum technology, the technology readiness level is quite low, and so it's sometimes 3, sometimes maybe in optimistic thinking 6, and it's a long way. And I understand this point of view, but I think in the keynote in the morning I say, come on, yes we can, let's do it. I think I stand up and be optimistic. But I see it's maybe it's not for the newspapers, but we have the discussion in a round with different professors from all over the world. And I asked him, what do you think? How much investments do you need for each platform to be in a tier A level that we can really solve problems? And he the name is maybe it's not important, but he told me maybe optimistics 500 million, negatively we need 1 billion. So it's only to get a feeling that's what the government is starting is great, but it's only the beginning. So I understand the feeling, but I think we have a grind. We have a really in Germany. I think one of the best. Basics, what we learn in physics, and when I see that we have a lot of patents, but I think there was a study was coming out yesterday that Germany makes a lot of patents, but only 30% of the patents are coming to application or can be used. I think we have a lot of good things lying there. We must take them and then run, and maybe not to think too much. I think hopefully it's answer your question.
I mean, I think I have to ask the same question than Michael, because I mean, 21 years before you founded your company, you co-founded Menlo Systems, right? What do you think was so different for you that you were bold enough and that you were emboldened by the system so that you could actually transfer what you had developed in your PhD, what you had developed in your research into an actual application that could be commercialized and a company to be founded?
So I think we were lucky. We were in a lucky place. Max Planck Institution, if you go wherever you go in the world, that is something that is known and respected. So Max Planck certainly is an institution that is very valuable for developing technology, having great people there. So we were in the good place at the right time. The technology, the optical frequency comms, which was the starting point, this has been developed over, I would say, 20 years before we even came there. So this is a long time endeavor, and it was just ready. And then we were told many times, if you do this, you sell 5 of your instruments, then you shut down again. Don't believe these people, right? Do your own dream. So we had the dream to commercialize it, and we were convinced that this is enabling. We were not sure what it is enabling. So there were many things that were ahead of us. So we just did it, I think. What did we have to lose, or what did we potentially lose? So obviously we gave up parts of our academic potential career, but it's always a choice. So we just did it. I was not referring with the fear too much about the entrepreneur side. I think sometimes it's also from the political or government side. Now we are so much worried about supplying things to countries, like how do we get things from the US, how we do supply to China. That's also something where we have to think about a bit about our mindset, I would say. Where do we want to go? How do we want to have great and strong companies? We always talk about that. Give them the market. Let them do what they need to do. And we are only small, right? I'm not talking about Menlo. Menlo doesn't make a difference. But we all together will make a difference, I would say. We can make a difference.
Certainly. I mean, in particular, I would be interested in Magdalena's point of view. I mean, you mentioned it earlier that Giesecke+Devrient is a company that has existed for over 150 years. Now you're looking into this new technologies. You're sitting next to 2 founders who founded their own companies in this quantum technology field. How do you look upon this?
From which point?
From the point of the transfer of the technology from academia into a real-life application, in particular in the context of, because what was their barrier? Because, I mean, for me, that was the thing that also in the preparation I'd heard from you, you were all talking about people just have to do that step. You have to take the step and, as Michael just put it, don't be afraid that you will only be selling 5 of your instruments and then go bankrupt. I mean, you work for a company that has such a long establishment. What's your perspective on this?
I think that also happens. It's not unique for new, young companies. That also happens to old and established ones. You always have to reinvent. You always have to be like, how to say, like with the time, like just really embrace it and try to grasp new things. And you need to grasp the things that are beneficial for you, for like the portfolio or what suits to your mission, and implement it and embrace it. So also if you're old and established, you need to do something and don't just like stand still.
Certainly. Vladimir, we've now heard from 2 people who had founded their own company, somebody who's been working for a company that has existed for over 150 years. What do you tell young founders when they come to you and tell you, listen, I want to found a quantum technology startup?
I wish I had many of them. On the other hand, I actually quite prepared to this question. So there are 2 things to that. The first is easy, the financial one. that doesn't really make sense to make GmbH when you sell a couple of the things for 10K. For this, people like, yeah, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But then for this, we actually have kind of incubation. So we have HZDR innovation. They just have small contract, we distribute it. Once it grows, so they can make a spin-off, they just spin out, and then that's fine. So that's solvable. Another thing is that there is a huge technological gap between applied science and actually transferable product, which is usually not addressed. So, and then the problem, a small anecdote from the Monday, we just had to turn off one of the potential people who do transfer because they had some particular thing in mind. They never talked to us for the last 3 years, but now they need to do something, but they don't have money anymore, but we cannot finance them because they did something which is not fitable for the marketable strategy. So we should be involved much, much earlier in an applied science thing, at least in the consultancy and the steering. And because now the application side of applied science is rather assumption and it's never been validated. So that's what the barrier I see right now.
I would like to hit only one point. In the past, I also found that the different startups, one was going up, once a few are closed, still closed, but there was only one point what I think about is it's every time people business. That's a lot of times I think, come on, you need the best physicist, you need the best guy from this. But in the end, it's only people. We are looking for the people, and a few startups was not winning because of the wrong people. And when I look back, the last 15 years, we have one startup with 50 employees. There was the best shareholder group. There was the best people, and also in quantum physics, when I was thinking, hey, it's very difficult, quantum mechanics and so on, is a people business. That's what I only want to add. If you make your startup, start it looking very perfect, very clearly, if we have the wrong people.
Well, there was one point indeed, and that's what people should start early to marinate this idea for maybe half a year before actually going forward, because they need to find the right team around. Otherwise, it's a bit kind of tricky to start.
Michael, how was your experience back in the early 2000s with regard to this? Would you also agree that's about the assessment here of Markus, that it's at the end of the day a people's business?
I would add, if you found a technology-based company, it's the people and the technology, right? You have to have both. Certainly people is very important. You also have the technology. Without the people, it doesn't work. So what is my own personal experience? As I said, it was a bit kind of going into new fields. So Max Planck, they wanted to help us, support us, and they did, Max Planck Innovation, right? But we were the very first one out of this institute. So everybody was trying to push. It took a bit long. So the negotiations were ongoing for rather long, but in the end, they were very successful. So we got the technology transferred into our company. As compensation, Max Planck Society got a small share in our company because we had no money, right? We didn't want to pay, so we exchanged some shares, which was in the end successful for both of us, also for Max Planck Society. And the process never ends, right? This is ongoing. We are still actively involved in many of the national and international projects that are funded by different institutions, some of them DLR, some others, and this is very important because you create a network that is your future customers. I think it never stops. And I would agree, it's as important for small as for large companies. Growth is always important, and it's not easy if you're large or small. It's always hard. You have to reinvent yourself.
Reinvent yourself, I think for quantum technology, it's certainly been a reinvention as well. We've gone through a couple of phases there as well. How do you see currently the technology readiness for quantum technology? Whoever wants to answer.
I think if I can start, I said before, I think we are, if you look in a positive way, we are at a TRL level of 6. And you know, that's what I said before. I think we are completely at the beginning, and when I see the politics before, and also the talks of them, what I would like to tell them, be careful. We need both sides, we need one, the science of the BMWF to make these projects together with industry, and then we need the BMWK, also this DLR initiative to bring it into applications. But I think we need both, and it's very important not to forget the science. I'm a fan to bring it to application, but the science, I think there's a lot of things to do. But I think as I said, third time, we are on a good way. But it's a long way, and we are at the beginning. And I think the first really, if you know, looking who are the customers of quantum computers is only, if you ask me, one or two big companies and science institutes. So if we go to real-life applications, we need millions of qubits, I think so, and this will be hopefully at the end of the decade.
So the technology readiness resolved by the end of the decade, and then we'll have a boom, and then will we still be talking about transfer?
I have one dream, you know. It's only one dream, because there was what we say in the panel before. The big players are coming from the US, you know, and why is it not possible to make such a player here? And I can say one example. We are in contact with one very big US company, because they are looking for our patents, because we have the right patents on the architecture also for their technology. But we have the dream to make this in Germany, but I think it's not easy, because one of the problems is we need a lot of funding. So it's not easy to get, because the investors yet not know if they're getting the money, the return of the money. I can understand investors. If you get now the money, you will never. It's a long time where maybe something go back. But I think I think it's possible, and you need every time transfer.
I mean, Magdalena, you work for a company that could potentially invest quite substantial amounts of money into that technology. If Ralf comes to you, asks you, should we invest now? What would you tell him?
Well, yeah, I think we would be ready to invest in a certain technology readiness level, like that is not super ready, but on the way to it. But it depends on which technology. So I think it won't make sense for us to invest in hardware, probably not, or not so much. But we would maybe be interested in others. And for us, it's maybe hard to really actually find what is out there and what could benefit us. So I think what is lacking right now is like the whole overview on the whole ecosystem in Germany, also in Europe. I mean, we're participating in different projects, so we know some, but I think there are even more out there. And sometimes even if you talk to bigger universities, if you ask one chair what they're doing in quantum computing, they're not aware what the other one is doing right next to each other or the next institute. So I think that's the whole networking, matchmaking could also be more and also more efficient.
Why do you think the overview is lacking? Because, I mean, doesn't it seem to be something so obvious to do?
I don't know, maybe because we have too many actors. I think, Michael, you mentioned it before. Maybe this is the reason, but well, that's my personal guess.
Who would you want to do this overview? Do you think it's a task of the ministry? It's a task of, I don't know, maybe us here at Bitkom to provide an overview? I mean, we don't really have the super strong connection to academia, but who would you see there as the person to be responsible, or the institution?
Yeah. So I think in the end, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Who takes the lead? It's done. It's perfect. No, I think maybe it works better if it comes from governmental approaches, because then you have the kind of top-down hierarchy. Because I don't know if research, I think it's a bit more complicated to get it going. I don't know. So I would assume more like from the top down. But anyone who wants to volunteer, happy to connect.
Vladimir, do you have in your institution such types of overviews where you connect on a broader scheme?
Those are multiple companies we use who do the overview. I mean, you pay subscription fee, let's say starting from 5K till 25, and then you get this overview. But also, I mean, when we talk about who will take a lead, who will own it, and so on, first there's politics, second economy. This is a proprietary information. How much it costs to have this overview to be able to invest. So should it be a joint initiative and open database, or actually it's a proprietary thing? So I guess this is where the hidden interesting point lies. And to comment on the technology transfer level, I mean, just to be very transparent, this is not one thing like quantum computing technology, right? This is a cryogenics, which is, by the way, now, I guess, done. I know a couple of the startups, including the Munich people, it's done. Like you plug it in, 2 hours later, 10 Tesla, or 10 millikelvins, 5 kilowatt hour. So this is nice. 2-3 years ago, I didn't think it's possible. So I'm quite amazed, and I think we are higher than I think. On the other hand, I mean, the hardware, I guess Germany historically will solve it quite quick. On the software side, I'm not that much certain. Still, we should collaborate. And I mean, I know all those things. The previous talk was about independency. Some people call it sovereignty. So I would more like towards sovereignty, be able to do that, but still collaboration is the key, because doing everything by ourselves is just a way too expensive.
Absolutely. Moving maybe a little bit away, because there's one question that I wanted to ask Michael from the beginning, and this was really because he is in a sense special here, because his company works in enabling technologies. And what do you think, is there a difference when we talk about enabling technologies versus the kind of the baseline technology? And the comparison would also be to the previous talks, the difference between Trumpf and Zeiss and their products versus TSMC, who then produces the semiconductors.
I think there's things that are similar and things that's different. So enabling technology means our products enable the application, meaning for quantum technology we supply laser systems to quantum computers, and we depend on the success of our customers, right? They depend on the technology, and it's not only lasers, there are other enabling technologies that allow the success of the application. So we have to work closely together with these, I would call them partners and customers. And the other difference is, don't only supply into quantum technologies or quantum computing. These instruments are also supplied to quite some other fields, so they serve more than one field. So quantum computing and quantum technology is very important for us, but it's not the only thing. So what also makes it a bit more difficult, if people talk about limitations or I would say regulations around quantum computing, yes, that's important. We want to be sovereignty and other things, but you should not always also forget it's also limiting then other places where we supply the instruments. So I think that should also be kind of something we should keep in mind. And it's not always easy to distinguish, I know, because quantum technology is more than quantum computing.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask. We're moving towards the end, but before we end, I'd like to have a short answer from all of you on one last question, on formats and approaches, especially which forms of technology transfer are most beneficial at the current stage of quantum technologies, and how can the government actually support these? Markus, you started.
I think that we need more focus on scaling, how we can scale the technology, and that there are funds. Yesterday there was an open call from the CHIPS Act from the US, from Europe, from the EU was coming. I think that's the right point of view, and then I think we are together that we can make this call together with our industry partners, and also in a higher volume. Let's say we had the problem in the past that we, if you make this in an industrial environment, it takes a little bit more money, like if you make it in your own lab, so that we also have a chance to get higher values like before.
Magdalena.
I think what would be beneficial for us would be more lightweighted programs. So usually if you apply for federal funding or for EU funding, well, you have the paperwork, but you apply for projects that take 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So I think what would be beneficial are like more lightweighted projects where you can just try something for, I don't know, half a year, and then you've tried it and then it's good to go, or you just dump it. And I think that would help like a lot of mid-sized companies to really try out stuff and get going.
Michael.
So I think I would agree with what has been said. So I think, but I would also a bit disagree. I think it's important at this stage, early stage of development, to fund several platforms. So I don't know which platform will be the best, and I think not too many people know at this stage. So it's important to not focus only on one. But yes, if you spend the money, I think we should have more freedom. If you fund with some governmental grants, there should be less paperwork, more freedom to spend it, and it should be faster.
Completely agree. Plus, just a quick comment, these are such programs as just mentioned, right? Short term, but from academic perspective for the employees, this is not that much good because they have this like 3 months prolongation period, which is complete turnover. So for me, the best would be to actually make collaborational R&D with the industry, with the people employed by industry and being located at the lab, because it would bring more expertise, more spirit and perspective, and shape the whole thing towards the application.
Thank you very much. And with this, we have discussed today the transfer from lab to fab, and I think the grades were pretty good overall. I think on average we ended at a 6, where the transfer is. With this hopeful message, I give the word again to Esther.